Okay, for the Alphabet Learning Project, we're just going to scroll down a little bit and we're going to go to the Alphabet Learning Project here. If you want to start with a start file, you can click on this alphabet.sb and it's going to bring you a link here. You're going to get this weird no preview available page. But if you want to use this file, just click on download and it will download it for you. I'm just going to save mine on the desktop. And then if you go back to the Scratch page on MrKwame.com, you can see the instructions. You just need to go to the website. You need to sign in. And what you need to do in order to use that file is, first thing you need to do is you need to click on Create, and you're going to create a new file. Once this is loaded, you're going to go to File, Upload from my computer. So click on File, then Upload from your computer. Click on that. And now alphabetlearning.sb. That's the file that we just downloaded. And it will ask you if you want to replace the contents of the current project. If you just created this project, that's what you want to do. If this is a project that you were working on before, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you created a new project. If it's a new project on the screen with just the cat and nothing else, you want to hit OK. And now what you've got on the screen is you've got just a B. And if I wait for the saving changes to be done, actually maybe I'll do it without it. If I click on this B, it changes to a butterfly. Oh, all right, there we go. So if I click on this, let me just wait for the changes. Okay, so now if I click, it changes it into a butterfly, and he says B is for butterfly. So this is similar to a children's book where you'd have A is for apple, B is for banana, C is for Cheerios. It's similar to that. We're going to take a look at the requirements here. We need to create a new Scratch file. If you want to use this example file, you can. This is going to give you all the blocks that you need and show you what's there, but we'll also go over that in this tutorial. You need to have at least 10 different letters, and each of those is its own sprite. So we don't need to do all 26 letters in the alphabet, but we do need to do at least 10. They don't need to start with A, so you don't need to do A, B, C. If you want to start at H and do H, I, J, you can, or if you want to do A, C, F, R, doesn't matter. So we need to have at least 10 different letters. We need to have an overall theme for the game. So it needs to have, it needs to be all food. So if you did apple, banana, Cheerios, that would be good. If you did apple, baboon, chariot, those would be 3 totally different things. You want to have some sort of category for it. So you could be all animals, could be aardvark, baboon, chimpanzee, something like that. Then now getting into the real content, all sprites must change when clicked. So you need to have a second costume for each sprite. And this is the first time we're seeing the term costume. And we are actually going to have that as a vocab word for this section. So we're going to need to know what a costume is. So let's go back to the example. Right now, when I click on this B, it does change, its costume changes to a butterfly. And so what is a costume? A costume is just a different way that a sprite could look. And the way I get to those costumes is when my sprite is selected, I move up here and click on costumes, and I've got 2 different costumes. I've got the bee and I've got the butterfly. So these are the 2 different costumes, or the 2 different ways that this sprite could look. So I only have one sprite, but it can look 2 different ways. So let's look back at the requirements. All sprites must change when clicked. So in order to do that, we would go into the scripts, and we need to use the events code when this sprite is clicked. So that's right here. We just drag this in, and then we want to switch the costume to butterfly, or whichever costume you have. So go into looks, switch costume to butterfly, and we also need it to say B is for butterfly for 2 seconds. And that's also right in here. We want it to say, and we can just double click on hello and change that to B is for butterfly. Oops, E. B is for butterfly. So now we've got that all on here. You could have it switch back to the costume B, and that's how it is right now. It shows the butterfly and then it goes back to the bee. So that's always a good habit to get into, is to have it change back when you're done with it. But we also have it so that when the green flag is clicked, it switches back to that costume. And that's kind of a fail-safe. That's another one of the requirements. So we've got it must change when clicked, and it turns back into letter when the green flag is pressed. So you need to have both of those on there. You also need to have say for 3 seconds, B is for butterfly, or whichever, whatever you're changing the letter into. And the last thing that we need to do is it must change when we type the letter on the keyboard. So in events, there's when space key is pressed. Right now it's space key, but since it has that little triangle arrow next to the space, that means we can change it. So we drag that in here, and we've got the example right here. We want to change space to the B button, because our letter is a B, we want it to be B. And then we can put all of these same things in there. We want it to be exactly the same as when this sprite is clicked. So let me just actually get rid of these. And I'll put looks in there, switch costume, say B is for butterfly, and B is for butterfly. So now both of these, when I click on the sprite or when I type B on the keyboard, it's going to change into B is for butterfly. It's only going to say that for 2 seconds, and it stays as a butterfly. It would be better if you change it so that it switches its costume back right away, but we have it set up so that when you click on the green flag, it will change back to the letter. So this would be the minimum requirements here. It would fulfill all of those requirements. If you had at least 10 different letters, right now we've only got one, and you have an overall theme for the game, all your sprites must change when clicked, and they must change if you type the letter on the keyboard. They have to say for 3 seconds, A is for apple, or whatever letter you have, and then whatever you're changing it into. And then they turn back into letters when the green flag is pressed. Now, in order to get full credit on this, you could have an output sound, A is for apple, so you could actually record yourself saying that and do something else to go beyond what was taught. And let's see. Let me pull up. Okay, this is just saving. I'm trying to pull up an example of one that I did. Okay, here we go. So if I pull up my alphabet learning game, I only have 4 letters on here, A, B, C, and D. If I click on A, it goes to A is for apple, B is for banana, C is for Cheetos, and then those were all pretty normal. For D, I added in my voice.
D is for donut.
So it's saying that all by itself. It's saying D is for donut all by itself. I recorded my voice saying that. And there are a couple other things you could do. You could try and add in a background. You could type some stuff in the background. Try and go beyond what the requirements were for this in order to get full points on it. And then when you're done, as always, make sure it's saved and make sure it's shared. Once it's shared, this one's already shared, you're just going to copy this address and go back to the Mr. Kwame page, click on Submit here, put in your name, what class period you're in, 1A or 1B, paste in the address, and then write out what a costume is used for in Scratch. So talk about how a costume is different than just a sprite, and click on submit, and you will be all done with the alphabet learning project.